Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel General Knowledge Track. If you are new to our channel, please consider subscribing. Today we are starting with a new topic, computer networks, which is always a crucial part of syllabus for various courses and recruitment exams. So we'll be starting with the basic understanding of the subjects. So let's get started, and starting with the definition of computer networks, we have two definitions in this slide. So the first definition says that various computers are connected to each other that enables them to communicate or helps them to communicate with each other, and they also share their resources, data and applications. Here resources means the hardware of the system that is shared between various computers. For example, in cyber cafes you have seen that multiple computers are connected to a single printer. This is known as resource sharing. And in case of data sharing, you all use WhatsApp and other social networking sites where you can share your data or messages with another person. And the example of sharing of applications is ATMs installed at various places. Now if you look at the second definition, it says that it is the interconnection of multiple devices, generally termed as host, connected using multiple paths for the purpose of sending or receiving data or media. So overall, computer network is a group of computers which are connected to each other so that various types of communication and exchange of information between them can take place. After definition, let's move to the next topic, basic communication model. So as we all know, computer networks basically use to communicate between various devices. So basic communication model tells us how the data is communicating, or how the exchange of information is taking place in the given system. So in any basic communication model, these are the 5 parts, and the source is the device which generates the data which is to be transmitted, like your telephones or personal computers. Transmitter stands for as you know, the source will generate the data, but it cannot directly be transmitted in the form in which it is generated. So transmitter's function is it transforms and encodes the information in such a manner so as to produce electromagnetic waves or signals. So these signals can be transmitted across some sort of transmission systems. For example, we use modems, and these modems take digital signals or bits from the attached device, for example your personal computer, and it changes the bit stream into the analog signal which can be handled by the network. And the next component is transmission system. It can be a single transmission line or a complex network connecting the source and the destination. Fourth component is the receiver. It accepts the signal from the transmission system and it converts it into the form which can be handled by the destination device. For example, the modem accepts the analog signal coming from the network and converts it into the digital bit stream. And the next component is the destination. Now here the receiver passes the information to the destination for processing. The destination takes the incoming data from the receiver. So receiver and destination, they both are in the destination system, and at the source end or sending end, source system is there which has also a transmitter in it. So these are basic components or basic communication model for any network. So after the basic communication model, we'll discuss the components of the communication model. Here we have 5 components: message, sender, receiver, transmission medium and protocol. So the message is the data or information we have to communicate from one device to another device. Sender is the device which is at the source end. So sender is the device or computer or telephone which is sending the message. Receiver is the device which is receiving the given message or data. And transmission medium is whenever we have connected two devices, so there is a transmission medium which connects them. So that connecting medium is known as the transmission medium. It can be either wired or wireless. And the last component is protocol. Protocol is a set of rules which ensures the proper transmission of data or message from one device to another. Now take an example. We have a 6-lane road and it has two-way traffic on it, but we don't have any traffic rules over there. So what will happen? There will be mess and there will be fights all over, because everyone will try to pass and no one will bother how the others will pass through the same road. So same is the case with the data, and if one device is sending the data, at the same time another device is also sending the data to the third device, so there will be a mess. Some of the information will be missing or either not properly communicate to the second device. So that's why we need some rules. So therefore we need some strict rules so that smooth communication of data can take place. So after these components of communication model, next we'll move to the data flow between two devices. So based upon whether the system communication only in one direction or otherwise, we will be having communication system classification as simplex, half duplex and full duplex. So the simplex system in which information is communicated in only one direction. For example, radio or TV broadcast system. So they can only transmit in one direction. Only the TV channels or the radio channels will transmit the information. You don't have the rights or the privilege to transmit to them. So if a device is in simplex system, so there will be prescribed devices. One device will be sending the data and receiver will be receiving the data. They cannot interchange their roles. Only sending device will send the data and receiving device will receive the data. Your TV can only receive the broadcast as performed by the TV channel. So you have only simplex data flow in that case. Whereas the half duplex systems, these are bidirectional. That is, they can transmit as well as receive, but not at the same time. So if a device is either sending or receiving a data, it can perform both roles of sender and receiver, but cannot be sending and receiving at the same time. For example, walkie-talkies which are used for communication in defense services also. So only one device or one walkie-talkie device will be sending the message, while other will be receiving the message, and after that they signal that you can now send the signal, so the second device starts sending. So and next is the full duplex system, which are truly bidirectional systems, as they allow the communication to take place in both the directions at the same time. So these systems can transmit as well as receive the data or information at the same time. For example, your telephone systems. So in these, each station or each device can transmit and receive at the same time. But in full duplex mode, signals are which are going in either direction are sharing the capacity of the link. So link may contain the two physical separate transmission paths, one for sending and another for receiving. Otherwise, the capacity of channel is divided between signals traveling in the both directions. Next, we will move to the network criteria. So as we all know, computer networks is a communication model which is used to transfer data from one device to another device. So how do we get to know the data is communicating properly in the system or not? So for that purpose, we have certain criteria on basis of which we can judge whether our data is safely reaching the place where it should be or not. So we have three basic network criteria based upon which we calculate or find out whether the communication system is correct or strong or not. So these criteria are performance, reliability and security. So the performance criteria can be measured in many ways. We can measure it in terms of transmit time and response time, where transit time is defined as the amount of time required for a message to travel from one device to another, and response time is the time elapsed between the inquiry and response by the second device. So these are two main criteria based upon which we can evaluate the performance of a computer network. Apart from these two, apart from transit time and response time, we have another factors which decide the performance. For example, number of users in the computer network, type of transmission medium, capability of the connected hardware and efficiency of software. Second criteria is the reliability. So we'll have to check whether the system is reliable or not. It is very important because it will decide the frequency at which the network failures take place in the system. So it will also decide the time taken by the network to recover and its robustness. And the third criteria is the network security, which refers to the protection of data from the unauthorized users or access. So in simple words, we can say that performance will find whether the data is transmitting at the proper speed or how fast our data is being transmitted. And the second criteria, reliability, checks whether the frequency at which network failure takes place is less or not, because if a system is not reliable, so whenever there is a electricity cut or another disaster is there, so the system will crash and the network will be busted. So as we generally have this problem with our networks, that they are not reliable whenever the weather of the given place is not stable. So our network also fluctuates, which means कि network failure rate is higher at that time. And security refers, for example, you want to do any bank transaction, so if at that time another person who is not authorized to use your bank details is using your bank details and withdrawing amount from your account. So for an ideal computer network, its performance should be high, reliability should be high and security should be high. So there should be fast transmission of data, reliable transmission of data and secure transmission of data. So perfections are very rare in this world, so the such ideal cases in which performance is high, reliability is high and security is high or 100% are not possible. So next topic is the types of networks. Network types can be classified on various bases. but here the types of networks we are going to discuss, these are based upon the number of nodes or end devices and also the transmission distance between them. So the first type, LAN, local area network, is a network which is designed to operate over a small physical area such as an office, factory or a group of buildings. These are very widely used in a variety of applications. These are easy to design and troubleshoot. So the personal computers and workstations in offices are interconnected via LAN, and exchange of resources, exchange of information and sharing of resources becomes easy. And this all the machines are generally connected to a single cable. So various alignments or topologies we are using for the interconnection, which we will be discussing in the upcoming lecture. The second type of networks, MAN, stands for Metropolitan Area Network. As the name suggests, a bigger version of LAN is used, and normally it uses the similar technology, but it's designated to extend over an entire city, and it can be a single network, for example cable TV network, or maybe means of connecting a number of LANs into a larger network so that resources can be shared between LAN to LAN as well as device to device. It can approximately cover 30 to 100 miles of distance. Next network type is wide area network or WAN. When a network spans a large distance, or when the computers to be connected to each other are at widely separated locations, a local area network cannot be used. So a wide area network is installed at that time, and communication between different users of WAN is established using leased telephone lines or satellite links and similar channels. It is cheaper and more efficient to use the phone network for the links. So most wide area networks are used for transferring large blocks of data between its users. Its example is airline reservation system, which you use online. And the last type is personal area network, PAN, which is used for the very small distances, a few meters. For example, Bluetooth in your mobile devices and desktop computers, which is used in a very short range of distance to transfer smaller files. These were the basics which we need to know before going further into the computer networks. There are some topics, or there are some terminologies which we'll be discussing in the upcoming lectures. For example, topologies and another criteria based upon which we'll differentiate or classify the types of networks. So we'll be discussing them in the upcoming lectures. Before ending our video, we have a question for our viewers. So this is a question: write down the advantages of using networking in resource sharing. So why do you think we should be using the resource sharing through the networking? Why do we need that? So you have to write the basic advantages you think you know, and we'll be uploading answers in the next video. And if you have some suggestions for our channel, please feel free to write down in the comments below. And if you like this video, please hit the like button. Also share it with your friends and colleagues, and also don't forget to subscribe our channel GKT. And once again, thanks for viewing our channel. See you in the next video.